viewers, it's a bulletin of our local news for the hour here on Star Television Network Channel 21. With me, Adama Sila. First, the headlines. Parliament ratifies Sierra Leone Council for postgraduate colleges on health. The timber export, which is near a 3-month deadline, has landed in court for fast-track adjudication, with judgment set to be delivered at any date from now by the Justice Sengu J. Nkrumah. Minister of Trade and Industry Alhaji Gusman Boy Kamara has said the support to the private sector, small and medium enterprises in post-Ebola recovery period is very important to ensure growth and economic development in the country. And in sport, in the ongoing inter-community football competition organized by the Central One Football Association at the Parade Playing Grounds, the Wazak community have secured their first victory against Peninsula Community. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. First off, let's start with the currency exchange updates. As Parliament ratifies Sierra Leone's Council for Postgraduate Colleges on Health, our parliamentary reporter Leonora Jawa files in this report.
The House of Parliament has unanimously ratified the bill entitled the Sierra Leone Council for Postgraduate Colleges of Health Specialists Act 2015. Presenting the bill in the Well of Parliament, the Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Abubakar Fofana, says the bill seeks to establish the Sierra Leone Council for Postgraduate Colleges of Health Specialists to supervise and coordinate the training of postgraduate health specialists and to provide for other related matters. Honorable Abubakar Fofana says Sierra Leone is fortunate to be the first country in the sub-region to embrace the culture of teaching and learning. He went on to state that since the College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences was established about 27 years ago to train medical doctors at the undergraduate level, nothing else has happened in the sphere of medical education to address the critical issue of medical training of a postgraduate, that is the specialist level. The minister pointed out that Sierra Leone is losing on the services of doctors who traveled out of the country to pursue specialist training.
The current interim national development plan for training doctors at the specialist level requires them to travel to the sub-region and other parts of the continent, as there are no such facilities locally. The government is spending thousands of dollars every year to fund these young doctors to pursue postgraduate training in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, etc., etc. Moreover, the country is losing out on the services of these doctors for the time that they are out of the country pursuing their specialty training. There is also the high likelihood that some of them may never return back to serve the country at the end of their training. And currently, Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, a growing number of our young doctors in the country are becoming increasingly frustrated by the fact that opportunities are still not available locally for postgraduate medical training.
But what is the relevance and urgency of the postgraduate course for the development of the health sector in the country? Dr. Abubakar Fofana has this to say.
According to the World Health Organization benchmarks, Sierra Leone, with an estimated population of 6 million people, require a minimum of 1,200 medical doctors. With less than 350 Sierra Leonean doctors registered with the Medical and Dental Council of Sierra Leone, the shortage of doctors has reached critical proportions, Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, making the realization of both the Millennium Development Goals and now the Sustainable Development Goals predictably untenable for this country. Secondly, if the current gap in the human resource for health is to be plugged using the current method of capacity building, sending students out of the country, then the country will have to send hundreds of doctors out of this country. In addition to the millions of dollars the government will have to spend, it will also translate to a loss of thousands of years in valuable person years of service.
However, the minister highlighted the benefit of enacting the bill into law.
Training of specialists locally is cheaper, for the government compared to the current system of sending them out. The availability of postgraduate medical training facilities in the country will reduce the rate of attrition of doctors out of the country in search of knowledge, because all the time the complaint is we train these doctors and they disappear, but nobody ever asks the questions, why are they disappearing? And some even go on to the conclusion that they are going to search for greener pastures. Most times the attrition of doctors out of the country is not necessarily to search for greener pastures, but because of the limited opportunity for them to progress their career. For example, as of now, once you finish undergraduate medical training, you do your house officer job, you become a medical officer. If you want to be a surgeon, you have to go out. You have to be a gynecologist, you have to go out. If you don't have the facilities to go out, you just remain as a medical officer until the politics begin to provoke you by calling you CMO, chronic medical officer.
It says the initiative will need about $4.6 million for the first year, but however noted that the initial funding will come from the World Bank, who has expressed willingness to support it, and subsequent funds will come from the government of Sierra Leone. Members of Parliament welcomed the initiative and unanimously passed it into law. For Star Television News, I am Leonora Jawara.
The protracted timber saga, which was initially filed for an injunction, restraining the defendants respondent from exporting timber logs pending hearing and determination of the application's summary judgment to be entered in favor of the plaintiff or applicant, Issa Beshi Kamara, against the defendant respondent, Patrick Bani, as filed by the plaintiff, will at any date from now be delivered by the Honorable Justice Sengu J. Krumah at the Fast-Track Commercial Court in Freetown. Patrick Salia has been closely following the timber business and now reports.
We're about to hear a case between a Nigerian-born Patrick Bani and some Sierra Leoneans who feel strongly aggrieved about how they have been treated. They say they are aggrieved because Patrick Bani wants to cheat them or has already cheated them. So that is why they have come to this fast-track commercial court. However, it's a restricted zone for our camera to enter.
The judge, after patiently listening from both counsels, Barrister Ibrahim Kanu of the plaintiff respondent and the lawyer representing the defendant respondent, Barrister R.B. Kowa, on the grounds of legality based on the summon, ruled that judgment reserved and notices will be sent to appropriate parties. The court ruled on this after the plaintiff lawyer informed the court that he had abandoned his previous submission for an injunction restating the defendant respondent, whether by themselves agents and or previous shipping agents and companies, from exporting timber logs, which practically was to force Mr. Bani to the negotiating table with the aggrieved party, but rather ask for a summary judgment to be entered in favor of the plaintiff applicant for a relief claim in his writ of summon dated 6th January 2016. The latter move by Barrister Kanu is, however, to allow both parties to benefit equally from proceeds of the trade as agreed in the MOU, because time is already drawing closer to an end for this government-approved 3-month exportation of timber logs, which has been on intermittent ban. Mr. Kanu applied that as a way of judge's summon dated 25th January 2016 for a summary judgment and any other addition that the court seems fit and cost-supported with an affidavit of the plaintiff Issa, sworn to on 25th January 2016, together with exhibits attached therein. Lawyer Kanu stated that the crux of the matter is that the plaintiff applicant signed the Memorandum of Understanding with the first defendant to carry out export of timber and any other business of the company, and based on the said MOU, the applicant is entitled to 40% shares of the business. Based on the said premises, he applied for a summary judgment pursuant to Orders 16, Rule Number 1 and 2 of the High Court Rule of 2007, and relied on the entirety of the affidavits, more so Exhibit 1 to 3, the writ of summon, and further asked for a full and honest disclosure of all contracts entered by the respondents. In his reply, Lawyer R.B. Kowa said what the plaintiff is claiming in court is faulty, as there is nothing stating any defense. By the nature of the very issues raised for court to summon plaintiff for clarification depicts that the matter proceeds for trial, as there are serious issues to be tried. The very document, he said, which is the Memorandum of Understanding, indicated clearly that the second defendant is a company registered in Sierra Leone, and there are specific provisions in the laws of Sierra Leone governing the operations of a company, which are bound to be properly looked into if possible evidence led in court and reasonable judgments reached. He further noted that the interpretation of the document relying upon is necessary to listen to witness and parties to the document. The defense has exhibited clearly that there are certain issues to be tried, admission and denial, and the plaintiff must strictly prove those issues, he stressed. But outside the court building, a good number of litigants protested with placards for justice. The Public Relations Officer of the Sierra Leone Timber Federation, Ibrahim Kuruma, summarizes the interpretation of those words written on the placards as their grievances.
Well, some of our grievances led to this issue today for us to come in numbers in the court. Our CEO, who is Issa Beshe Kamara, having an agreement, and not only an agreement, he is in partner with Patrick Bani. They own a company wherein they share of 40-20%. Well, now, as the permission has been granted to Patrick Bani, he now tried to turn all the 100% to his own share, with ignoring Issa Beshe Kamara to get his own 40%. And with bulk of us are under him on this timber export trade. So what we see now is that he's totally collecting the 1,500 of timber export on his own area, ignoring to give Issa Beshe Kamara his own 40%.
This is the beginning of a long and protracted legal battle that borders on honesty and sincerity that will affect not only the people who are involved in this matter, but will have a ripple effect on other people into the strait. From the fast-track commercial court in Freetown, Patrick Salia reporting.
Minister of Trade and Industry Alhaji Usman Boy Kamara has said support to the private sector and small and medium enterprises in post-Ebola recovery period is very important to ensure growth and economic development in the country. Alhaji Usman Boy Kamara speaking to Star Television following his return to the country from London, where he was responding to treatment after a long illness. Our reporter Amadullah Manaba has the details and in our reports.
Amidst fanfare and dance, people from all walks of life gathered in front of the airport, down to the Kisiferi terminal, to welcome home someone most of them regard as not only a politician, but a philanthropist who has one way or the other touched their lives. Alhaji Usman Boy Kamara, a retired civil servant, a politician and a former member of the opposition Sierra Leone People's Party that later joined the ruling All People's Congress and was appointed Minister of Trade and Industry, was flown out of the country in 2014 to London, where he stayed for over 2 years fixing his health amidst rumors that he had died. However, he's been lucky to return home healed.
Well, it has been very trying times, but as a man of faith, I believe in God. I never lost faith. I am happy I'm back, although not 100%, but at least 99% through thanks to the support I received from His Excellency the President and the government of Sierra Leone.
Speaking to this medium upon his return to his office, Alhaji Usman Boy Kamara said the Ebola outbreak affected every facet of the society, but the private sector and business community were the worst affected, hence the need for more support that will boost them to return to where they were so as to be able to support the economy. He went on to state that the implementation of the local content policy, which is very close to his heart, and creating a sustainable support and development of small and medium enterprises, especially for women, will be the focus of the ministry as they work in line with the government's agenda for prosperity.
There is a bill already, which is before Parliament, on SME, small and medium enterprises, and I'm going to consult with the Minister of Finance and other stakeholders to see how best we can alleviate the work of the market women, small scale industries and all of that.
Alhaji Usman Boy said the mining sector, which was also hit by the plummeting global iron ore prices, needs to be revived, especially when it accounts for a high rate of employment, and that diversification must be encouraged so as to get more people involved in the economic activities of the country. The trade minister, who returned after undergoing British medical treatment for over a year, said he is saddened by the fact that medical facilities here cannot provide the much-needed treatment to majority of the people who cannot afford to be flown away.
I feel very bad about that because out of 6 million people in this country, I don't think 1% can afford to go abroad for medical treatment.
He, however, promised that he will continue to engage his colleague in the health ministry, the president, and potential investors who will want to help in building the country's health sector. He ended by registering his appreciation to President Nkrumah and the public for what he described as their supportive roles and prayers when he was at his sick bed. For Star Television News, Amadou Lamranaba reporting.
You watching Star Television News Bulletin. Before we go for our sporting updates, let's take a look at the weather. Let's now join Hilton John for our sports news.
In the ongoing inter-community football competition organized by the Center One Football Association at the Parade Playing Ground, with 43 communities taking part in the ongoing competition, the Duazan community have secured their first victory in the ongoing competition after they succeeded in a 1-0 victory against Peninsula Community. It was a fascinating encounter for either side, but Duazan, they were the better team at the end of the 90 minutes when Francis Musa got the early goal in the 66 minutes that separated both teams. Team manager for the Duazan community, Emmanuel Bobby Roger, said the victory is not a surprise because his players are dedicated and they're determined for them to win the championship this year in the ongoing competition. He explained more to the Star Television Sports about the importance of the victory for his community.
Well, that result means a lot for us because that has inspired the boys and they are going to do their best. You will see lots of things that will be going on there. It's a success story for us at Duazan.
What is your impression about the performance of both teams in the game, despite he succeeded getting a 1-0 victory?
Well, the game was so marvelous because things were going well for Peninsula. At the start, we were afraid of them, but during the second half, we did some changes, and that brought some success for us that we have the goal.
He further noted that, although the community is faced with some challenges in terms of recreational facilities, but they are trying their level best to see how do we continue to develop sports in the country by identifying more young talents that represent the area and also the country in international competition.
Yes, we are asking them to put their support as they did the last time, that Duazan is going on the map and they will know that where their money is going, success is going there too.
Finally, in international sports, Barcelona have humiliated Valencia in the Copa del Rey quarterfinals after they succeeded in a 7-0 victory. Barcelona qualified to the semi-finals in the ongoing competition in Spain. They will likely play against Sevilla in the semi-finals. I am Hilton John reporting for Star TV Sports.
That's all we have in our local news bulletin for the hour here on Star Television Network Channel 21. I am Adam Asila. Thank you for watching and do stay with us.